everybody. So nice to see you all back. Love it, love it, love it. Brilliant. It's a real shame that what happened on Friday and we had to shift this around a little bit because not as many people could turn up live. But I know even the people, some of you in here, that have been coming live have still been watching the replays anyway because there's so much to take from it. So thank you for bearing with me. We have electricity, we have internet, we are good to go today. So I am going to share my screen because we've got loads to get through. Who is ready? Pop it in the chat. Also, pop it in the chat for me what you've like. That's all right, Laura, don't worry. What's your like been your biggest moment, biggest breakthrough, biggest like aha moment in the last couple of days? Okay, so let me know that while I just click to share my screen at the same time. Let me have a look. Share. Share screen. When I'm using two screens, I just get so confused. I don't know about anyone else, the little things. And okay, if I spotlight myself, everybody should be able to see my face when I on the replay as well. Okay, bear with, because I can't see the chat anymore. It's disappeared for some reason. Oh, yes, here we are. We are back. Okay, brilliant. Okay, excellent. Right, let's go. Can you all see my screen? Just give me a thumbs up. Yes, yes, brilliant. Okay, so I know you're ready, girls, because the chat has been insane. Katie, I just want to celebrate the question that you put in on Friday, I think it was, and I've still got some questions to get back to where you wanted to know how you could get more signups because you had 11 and you've now got 26. That is absolutely insane. So well done for that. Let's go. Let's not waste any more time. Okay, so after the call, I am going to be dropping like an amazing activation for you into the Telegram group. So you can bring all three of these days together. And because I'm going to be dropping that in there, the competition is still running. So if you take a video or a picture of yourself, like practicing that activation, pop it on your Insta, tag me in your stories, you get a bonus 50 points, as well as all the other ways you can still gain points, sharing on your story, like your takeaways, taking any pictures or screenshots from this. I'm going to be announcing the winner on Wednesday, and the top four, 5 is creeping up, are very close. Okay, so let's go. So today, our day-to-day lineup, we obviously have already looked at your She's the One effect. We've looked at how you innovate your way to bring in that income because everything you do is an easy yes. So today we're going to be looking at how you sell while you play, because obviously this is now how you bring it all together. And it's all about content, messaging, marketing. Like so many different words are used, but it's effectively how your audience are now seeing you, how they are getting your message. Okay. So it's about using premium positioned content. So we're not just talking about content for the masses. We're not talking about content to fill the grid and just to post. Okay. We are talking about content that you have specifically designed and created to position yourself, your offers as a premium, as something that is desired. Okay. So when you are able to do that, that's how you sign clients when you're living your life. That's how you get to not always need to be like chained to your laptop and working or even posting every day. And that's what has your offers selling every day. Okay. Or on repeat. They might not sell every day. Let's be realistic, but they sell on repeat. So just to point it out to you, day one was the identity work. Day two was the innovation work. Day three is the selling while you play. But even when you're in your identity, when you have the most innovative offer, none of that will sell if your content doesn't position you as that obvious choice. Okay. So Content isn't just about filling the feed to be consistent or to have your like brand out there and to be everywhere. That comes into a part of your strategy. If we were to talk about your visibility strategy, there's a time and a place. But your main content, because we're talking about selling here, is about creating that influence that sells for you while you live your life. And that is why day 3 is all about influence. And there's no the word has completely escaped my mind. There's no coincidence that these are the first 3 pillars of my authority mastermind. We always tap into identity. We're constantly innovating. We are looking how we can influence our audience. So we talk about like influencers, and we're not influencers. But in some ways, in terms of the meaning of the word, we actually are, because we are showing our audience what we have that can help them. We're doing them a service. And when you frame it as doing them a service over selling, it also feels a lot easier. And you don't have that like icky feeling when you think about selling. Okay. So it's all about influence. And the thing is, most content isn't actually influencing anyone. Oops. It's not influencing anyone. Like it is just generic tips, algorithm chasing, like, oh, if I do this, like the algorithm's going to like it and it's going to push me out to more people, or it's going to push me out to non-followers. Like there's so many versions of the algorithm that we end up chasing. And it's not consistency for the sake of it, like posting just to stay posting. And I've put these images up here because, yes, this horrific post here was one of my posts when I started. When I started, I was called Happiness and Heart Official. I was building it's before I'd even finished my coaching qualification. And I was just like building a presence, basically. So, like, steps to protect your vibe, to live your happiest life, like, makes me want to throw up. But I'm transparent and I share it all with you because in this time, I was doing all of these things, thinking that's what I needed to do. Okay. This was when I first started to get clients, and the feed looks brilliant. Okay. And I was getting clients, but I was still doing a lot of chasing and it wasn't easy. Okay. So premium buyers don't actually want more information. They don't want more educating. If we're talking to premium buyers, they basically want to know like who they can trust with their next level. Now, I hate that phrase, but I couldn't think of another phrase to use to get it across here. So, whatever your niche is, there's another level that they want to achieve, their result, their solution, their transformation. Okay. So, if we're talking to a premium buyer, we're not like massively convincing them in our content, because we're taking it that if these are premium ready to buy buyers, they already know that they've got this problem and they want a transformation. They just don't know who to work with. So we have to make sure, that's why selling while you play is all about how you position yourself, because we have to make sure you're positioning yourself as premium. Now, premium does not mean like, oh, top of the range, like it has to be the most expensive. Like I've been in this business for 15 years, that's why I'm premium. Premium is just another word for quality, isn't it? So you want buyers that are serious, buyers that are ready. And those buyers, what they don't want is what I call like Miss Nicey Nicey content. Okay, so this was an era of my Miss Nicey Nicey content, and it's doing a lot of good stuff. It's doing a lot of what I've talked about. It's good, as in, like, I loved writing this content. It's informative. There's some education in there. Like the feed looks bloody great. My personality is there. You can see it. It's not just the face, but it was coming through the writing. I was talking to pain points. I was connecting. My audience like it. And when I say like it, in this era of my content, I was getting the most likes, the most engagement, the most shares, the most comments that I have ever got. And I'm talking like in the hundreds and 200s for likes and in the 40s for comments. Like that is a lot. I don't get those numbers now. But yet, my work sells, my content is always selling for me now, but those metrics are lower. Okay. And that is because this Miss Nicey Nicey content is good, but it doesn't convert. It doesn't convert consistently. So what this is actually the opposite of influence. Okay. And the reason it's the opposite of influence is because, like, there's three things to influence your audience that you need to be consistently doing. And the more you do it without even thinking about it. So the first thing is authority transfer. Like, and this Miss Nicey Nicey content doesn't have that authority transfer because it's safe, it's forgettable, it doesn't shift any beliefs. So if we just go back, like, what does good enough look like? God, like, somebody might want to look at that, but it's very basic. Okay. The guilt you're feeling the guilt you're feeling is there for a reason, but it doesn't mean it's valid, justified, or you need to accept it, blah blah blah. Like, I'm bored reading that. Okay. So the reason there's no authority transfer, it fits into anybody else's content. There's none of me particularly in that. So it becomes forgettable. And the key here is it doesn't shift any beliefs, because with premium positioning content, if the reader, if your audience's thinking doesn't change, then their buying behavior isn't going to change either. And that is so key. You have to change the way they think about something. So shifting that belief, otherwise their buying behavior isn't going to change. And you do that, I'm going to go into more detail on this. You do that by transferring that authority, that she's the one effect, the innovation, everything we've done and stacked up. The other reason that kind of Miss Nicey Nicey content doesn't convert is because there's no proof embedded. Now, we talked about this a little bit when we talked about innovation and some of the things that you need to make, like, your offers a no-brainer, and it's like proof and certainty. Well, copycat, and I call it like copycat content, copycat because they've seen it a million times before content. It doesn't create any level of certainty. They're not like looking at that and thinking, oh yeah, I'm certain she can get me to my end result, or I'm certain she knows what she's talking about, or I'm certain she's like, she could do this with her eyes shut. Okay. Because seeing it a million times before content, even if you came up with it off the top of your head and you weren't actually copying anyone at all, if they've seen it so many times before, it actually does the opposite of positioning you as a leader. It's signaling like you're not necessarily leading or being innovative or creative with the way you're putting things out there. And then premium buyers don't have a reason to trust that you can lead them. So there's an awful lot of buyer psychology in this. But, and I would say for at least maybe the first 18 months of my business, I didn't really play into the buyer psychology nearly as much as I should, which now I think of that, it's ridiculous, because psychology, mindset, beliefs, all of these things, they rule our life pretty much, in good ways or bad ways. Okay. So we need to make sure our content, the way we're speaking, is hitting that buyer psychology that they need, because we know we have a great offer for them and we know we can help them. And I know that, and I know that you all know you are great at what you do, but we need to get that across in your words. Otherwise, they don't know how great that you are. And that's the key. Okay. And then the third element of this is there's no elevation. Now, what I mean by elevation is, like, if you've got content that is like samey, it's the same as everyone else. Okay. That content then doesn't change their self-identity. Okay, it doesn't elevate them in any way. It doesn't like allow them to see what is possible for them. And if that content only mirrors where they are right now, it's keeping them small and it's keeping their thinking small. And you haven't expanded them enough to think that what you're talking about is possible for them. And if they don't think is possible for them, they don't have the confidence, the conviction, the trust to be able to go for it, whether it's from you or somebody else. But then if somebody else is saying the same things that you're saying, but in this real elevated way that allows them to see what's possible for them, they are changing that person's self-identity before they even work with them, and they're going to be more likely to say yes to their offer through their content. Because those premium buyers say yes to something, anything, when your content reflects back to them the leader, the authority, the version of them that is already ready. So not if it's like the simplest way I can explain this is in a call to action. This is very basic, but in a call to action, if you say something like, if you're ready to XYZ, DM me the word, whatever. We need to know that they are ready because we're only talking to the people who are ready. So I know something as similar, like, I know you're ready to whatever, or now you're ready to do this. Simple, tiny language changes are so vital when it comes to content that converts and content that sells while you play. Okay, so what makes your content sell while you play? What makes it convert with ease? Okay, love a bit of cheese. It has to be ACE. ACE, lovely. Okay, but it's an acronym. Okay, so it has to be ACE. Now, the ACE framework is quite simple. It's only 3 things, and it has to activate, it has to claim, and it has to elevate. And when you are able to do all 3 of those things in your content, then you will, that's happy medium in the middle, is you will be influencing in your content. Okay, so that's the key. You have to activate them. You have to show and claim. This is your she's the one effect coming into effect. And you have to elevate them in your language, in the way you're talking to them. So when you're able to do that, that is what is going to have your premium clients sending you DMs while you're like out living your life. Okay. So before we go into like activate, claim, elevate, pop it in the chat for me while I have a sip of water because my voice is going. Ooh, just if there is one of those things already that you don't think you do enough, or which one of those things you think you might need to do more, or which one of those things you think, don't think I know how to do that, pop it in the chat while I have a quick sip. Because I'm definitely about to catch that cold that is going around that everyone seems to have at the moment. Let's see what's here. Claim, okay. Need to do all of them more. Elevate. Okay, Brill. Okay. And the interesting thing with claim, because I am going to break all 3 of these down anyway, but the interesting thing with claim is that comes back to your confidence and content, confidence and conviction as well. Is like, are you confident enough to own what you do, how you do it? This plays into your she's the one effect, which is why I said we started with your she's the one effect, because until you not just know that, but you're completely confident and it flows through your bones kind of conviction with it, you're not able to then really speak in your content even as that authority, as that person who's got influence, as the person who then sees DMs activating and elevating their audience so they want to work with them. So that's why all 3 of these stages have been like, I specifically designed them in that order. Okay, so let's start with activate. So activate in the simplest way. Oh, it's because my cursor's on the other screen. Activate is all about, if the screen wants to change, basically shaking your audience the fuck awake. It was the easiest way I could think of explaining this. It's like you're going like this to them. Okay, so I almost want you to like have that in your mind, because we hear the word activate all the time. Oh, you need to activate your audience. You need to, but what does it mean? It literally means like you're doing this to them. Okay, so it's not about motivating and it's not about inspiring. Now, there's a time and place for those things in your content. Okay, and you can still do those things while you are activating, but so much content that I see I used to do it, leans so heavily into motivating or inspiring that the activating, which is your authority piece, gets lost. Okay. So activating is about flipping their belief so radically, like having a major perspective shift that they can't see the same problem in the same way again, whatever that belief is that you're talking to them about. Okay. So you knowing what your ideal client's beliefs are, and I'm going to go into this a little bit more detail in a moment, but I do mean as deep as you can go, not just like, oh, what's a limiting belief holding them back, but like, how is that affecting their life? Like, what does that mean they're doing or not doing in their life? Like, how has that showed up for them today in a really mundane, boring day? What has that meant for them? You need to like show them that, because when you show them that, they're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't realize that. I thought I was just going about my day. So knowing your ideal clients on this level is so, so important. And because the buyer psychology behind that, made sure to thread this into each of them, is the brain only makes new choices when it's disrupted. Okay. So I'm pretty sure everybody potentially here knows enough about mindset. So even when I was in school, I used to teach the teachers this because goes back to learning and how kids learn. Okay. So we've all got those neuro pathways in our brain, and they are embedded, the same way of doing things, the routines we have in the morning. It can go across everything, habits, decisions that we make, what we do in our business day to day, how we consume on social media. Okay, we've got neural pathways, and it's the same way that we do it. But the brain will only create a new pathway when it's been disrupted by something. So when they've been shown something new, or when they've been told like to change a habit and do this every day, and then they need to see that consistently, which is why I always say repetition in content is brilliant. And it takes away that question of when people say, oh, I don't know what to post today. It's almost like you have to come up with something brand new every single day. You don't. Like, you will have your however many, 4 or 5 core things that you talk about all of the time. And within those things, every time that you talk about them, it is embedding that new neural pathway to those lurkers on your content who look, they might not like, they might not comment, you might not even know they're there. Those new neural pathways have become disrupted. And every time you talk about that new thing, you are embedding possibility of them making a new choice. It goes deep. Like, it's not just getting a piece of content and writing it. So your content, the job of your content is to interrupt those neural pathways, the autopilot that they're on, to wake them up and to like jolt them into this new possibility that you don't have to keep doing things this way. You can go this way. Okay. But that's really important. But disruption alone isn't enough. It then goes another step further, because when they're awake and then they're like, okay, I need to look to this like new possibility, then they're going to ask, well, who do I trust to now lead me forward? Okay. And this is where the identity work comes in. So all the she's the one effect work that you did, but also their identity. So we flip it to their identity and their self-identity. So your content activates when it flips a belief, yes, but also when it reminds them who they are underneath the fear. And I've put underneath the fear because 99% of the time, the reason that they're not, even if they do feel activated, you flip their belief, they're not then reaching out. They're still like an on the fence person, because although you flipped the belief, you might not have reminded them like who they are, because they're still scared. They're still like, oh, but what if this happens? What if I'm the person it doesn't happen for? What if people are going to judge me? What if my school friends from 5 years ago like see that I'm about to do this? There's so many different fears that they could have. So your content needs to flip the belief to activate, but it also needs to reflect back that self identity. And to do that, you have got to know who know who they are so that you can speak to their soul. And that sounds so dramatic, but this is what I was talking about. You need to go down deep, okay? Not surface level ideal client stuff. So you need to know your ideal client on the very deepest level. So, like I said, it's not just about what is their limiting belief. It's about what is like a deep secret desire that literally they've told nobody, but they would love to be able to do or want to do at some point. So that's like the example of depth that I'm talking about. It could be like what they tell themselves when they look in the mirror, or what is running through their mind when they lie on the pillow at night, but not the basic stuff like, oh, I'm so knackered, I'm this, I'm that, or whatever. It's like, I'm starting to wonder if I can actually ever do this. I feel like I'm on the edge of a nervous breakdown. If I say this to like him laying next to me, my partner, he's just gonna like tell me I'm doing a great job, da, 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 but I'm not. I like really feel like a failure. Like that's a whole level deeper than, oh, I'm so tired juggling business and kids. Can I really do this? Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's that level of depth that like they wouldn't have necessarily told anyone else. So when you show up and you start referencing those types of things, that is going to activate them and wake them the fuck up. Okay. So the things that wake them up at night, things that give them like excited goosebumps when they think of it. So it doesn't have to be negative. If you can deeply speak to that part of them, then you are going to be activating them and you will have made the sale. Before they've even reached out to you in the DMs, they'll be like, oh, I need to work with this person. Okay, that is what you need. I actually, somebody, this was about a year ago now, and it was into the Authority Mastermind. It was over a year ago, maybe about 18 months ago. They reached out to me and they said, I want to join the Authority Mastermind, like literally just like that. And I'd never seen this person, I'd never heard of them, didn't have a clue who they were, where they came from. We got on a discovery call and they said, I found your page about 2 weeks ago, but I hadn't really looked at it. I started following you. And then one of your posts from like a week ago came up today, and it's like you were talking to my inner body. Like she didn't say inner body, can't remember what she said. It was like you were talking to my soul, basically. And it was like you saw absolutely every part of me that I needed help with. And she literally went on to sign up before the end of that call from that one post. So that is why activation is so, so important. So this is like a client's example so that you can see this. So like this client is like a body confidence, fitness, nutrition, body confidence coach. This was one of her posts. So this was like a video of her client in the background and a quote. Like, I'm not a gym girl was the lie keeping her stuck. And here's what happened next. So she was using like a belief, like an actual tension, but also like a bit of curiosity to activate her audience. Like how many people will have said themselves, I have, like, oh, I'm not a gym girl. Okay. So there's a level of they're talking to a belief, but in a different way. Not you've probably thought you're not a gym girl. Like there's so many innovative ways of doing it. They're adding a bit of tension and curiosity, and it's activating. And then her caption went on to like lead them through the journey of like possibility. I think I can do this too. So we unlocked that level of possibility. Okay. So activation is what makes those clients. And that case study is Kelly, one of my clients. She signed over 60 clients since applying these strategies to her content. So it works. And 95% of those have come through our content. Okay. In a week. So she re-signed with me for like another 6 months. And in a week, she paid for it by all the signups. And she's now on, when we first started working together, he wanted to have 3K monthly recurring revenue. And then she also has like other people pay in full, etc., all coming in. But that was like her standard. She's now at 4.5 standard every month, not counting anything else. So that's the power of activating content. And I hate seeing my face like that. What you want to be doing to activate is not just telling them. This goes across every piece of content. You don't just want to be telling them, you want to be showing them. Okay. So this was, and it doesn't have to be in a grid. This was a story I did, 20th of August. I just screenshotted it from my stories. And basically what I was talking about was your identity. I was talking about the identity work. Okay. I was marketing this. I was talking about the identity work and why it's such a difference. I used pictures of like what I looked like 2 years ago to now. And I was talking about, while these are just images, it went for like how I showed up online. And that story had somebody reach out to me straight away. Like, I've just come across your page. I feel so seen and understood. This is literally exactly where I'm holding myself back. And I think everything. I'd love to know more about the mastermind, please. So that is the power of activating your audience and making them feel seen and understood. Okay, so I'm not like messing around when I'm just telling you this. It's not just theory, it works. So you need to think about your content, I should say, needs to do the job. Thoughts and beliefs of where your ideal client is right now, okay, at that deep level that I've just shown you. And then the thoughts and beliefs of where they want to be. Your content has to bridge that gap and show them how they can get from this to this. And I say show, so we're not just telling them. What are different ways? Like, think about it. A good question I always ask myself is, like, I will say to myself, what's the bigger picture of what they want? So let's just say the bigger picture is clients and money, okay, more money in the business. I could talk to that, but it's not exactly invoking like that feeling of activation within people. So what's the bigger reason underneath? Like, why do they want those things? What's their life going to look like? What's it going to feel like? Now, what's an interesting way I can talk about that will like make somebody sit up and like think differently about something? So you really want to start going through this process. And it might take you a little bit more time at the beginning, but the more you do it, the more you will become automatic. You will have started a new neural pathway in your brain for writing content. So what belief is keeping your ideal client stuck right now? And how could you flip it in one post so that they never see themselves again? Never see themselves? They never see it the same again. That's something I really want you to think about. And that's part of one of your pieces of homework. Okay? Because once your audience is activated, the next question they will unconsciously ask themselves, they won't be like aware of it, but they will unconsciously ask themselves, okay, but like, who do I now trust to lead me into this new possibility, this solution, this result? And if you notice, I've said that question twice. It's so important. And that is why the claim part of the ACE framework is so important. So they're activated. You now need to be owning your lane so fully that no one ever doubts that you're the person to work with. You become that category one. You don't have to persuade, you don't have to convince, you don't have to prove. Now, obviously, by claiming it, we are proving it. But what I mean is, you don't have to feel like you're proving yourself, okay? It's naturally flowing through what you're writing, because just standing in the conviction that you and your solution is the absolute thing they want is going to make them feel like she's the one I want to work with. Because the bias psychology behind that is the brain craves more certainty before it commits. Now, some people go through this process really quickly because we're all different. But some people see it, they maybe like binge a few things and they're like, yes, instant, this is the person. They get that instant certainty. But then there are other types of buyers, and I am one of these, who take a little bit longer, unless it's clothes or shoes related, take a little bit longer to like look am I sure this is the right person? Not because I doubt that person, but because my brain likes to go over it a few times. I am the type of person who, if there's like a 48-hour bonus on, I leave it to the last like few hours because I'm really taking advantage of that time. Okay. So you have to be aware of that. Premium buyers are looking for signs of safety with you and your offer, and that their investment is a good investment, your authority, your leadership, but they're also looking at signs of inevitability, like, oh, she's going to be able to be the person to help me do this. Okay, so your content therefore needs to give it to them. And this ties back to day one, the she's the one effect. So claiming it, we now need to weave that identity that you've claimed into your content. So every single word says, like, this is who I am, this is what I lead, you are in safe hands. So how do you claim that you are the only one they should ever want to work with? Okay, so these are quite basic, but you need to be doing these consistently across your content. So things like dropping what I called like demand signals to show that you are in demand. Okay, so you could talk about, if you're more established, you could talk about retention rates. So recently, for example, over the last 6 weeks, my retention rate of clients has been 100%. Every single person is re-signed. Okay, that kind of gives a level of trust to people wanting to sign up. If you have any re-signs, even if you're doing a free event, Katie, this is what I told you to do to get more sign-ups to yours on the weekend, was like screenshot all the Stripe notifications or sign-up notifications, use them on your stories, or be innovative and use them in a reel or your post, because that naturally creates like, oh, lots of people are going to this. It creates that fear of missing out. Okay, so it's something little like that. It's also, you can, we talked about this on Monday, share your category of one frameworks. So the lens that only you bring. So, for example, like I have an authority framework, it's my 4 I's. I take people through that. There's loads of business coaches out there. And effectively, most business coaches will kind of do the same thing, but each of them, well, the good ones, will have like a specific lens that they take you through. So for me, it's claiming that authority. Yes, we do the strategy. Yes, we do everything else, but it's, you need this. There's another coach that I love what she does. She really shares her framework, but it's very data led. So they like zoom into your data and this, that, and the other, and decide your strategy from that point of view. She shares the framework for that. So people who really love the data side of it are going to sign up with her over me. And it's kind of knowing that and being okay with that. And that's absolutely fine as well. So it's, what is your framework for your offer or how you work? Because that framework could go across lots of offers that you have. And then also, again, going back to Monday, you can see how they all link. It's leading with your opinion in your content, the bold truths you believe, or things you don't believe, or things you're not on board with, different perspectives. You need to be bringing these in, and they don't necessarily have to be whole posts. They can be like a line or two in the caption, but you are like consistently really getting across what you believe, what you think makes the difference. Okay, because you need to be showing your she's the one identity, because that is claim isn't just about claiming wins, it's about claiming why you. So you need to be bringing that through your content. This is just, there's a lot on the screen, but it didn't make sense if I actually didn't, it had about 12 slides, but this is just an example. And I don't do posts like this often, but let me show you what scaling support actually looks like. So this is going to look different for absolutely every coach out there. Okay, but I've gone into like how I supported different clients scale in the last week. And it, first of all, it shows nobody's the same, which is a good thing for me because that's what I want it to be. That's what I pride myself on. It's got bits of evidence for almost all of them. It shows that people are working at different levels, but it also shows what I believe in just by showing what I've worked through with my clients. So that's like a very obvious post. Okay. There's also this, your identity can like drip through your words. So like other masterminds give you frameworks and feedback on their schedule. I'm the one you message mid-sale, mid-DM, mid-move when a hot lead hits and you want to know exactly what to say, not next week, but now. Because in that content, I go on to show this is something that I claim. I don't just claim it, it's true. Like I always say, to my high level clients, if you've got someone in your DMs and it's like 8 o'clock at night and you're having a conversation and you're not sure like what to say, you message me. And even though it's out of hours, I will walk you through that. So we go back and forth on what to say, what to do, this, that, and the other, while they're still building up their confidence. So this post is a tiny bit of like showing why I'm different. And it's not going against my boundaries. It's something I pride myself on. And then this is an example of a story I did Friday or Saturday. So you probably saw it. And it was all inspired by this comment. I was just looking to see if the person's in here. They're not. So it was talking about this training, blah, blah, blah. And I've said, it led me on to like, I've been to too many trainings where they're shit, basically. And I go on to talk about it. And it just really stamped my perspective. And I'm going to be honest, I was scared. Scared is the wrong word. I was a little bit nervous to post that because there are many coaches I work with who have done trainings that are a little bit like, there's nothing in this. But I was like, no, this is my opinion. And I genuinely believe it. And I know that I do the opposite. And I then went on to have so many comments from it. Now, that wasn't my purpose. My purpose was just to get this out there because I strongly believed it. But that's what it means to claim. Really just stand by what you think. And the more polarizing in some ways, the better. So if you feel scared to post it, post it. Because the reason you're scared is because your fear is creeping up and being like, oh, but what might people think? The question is, if you wrote it, that's what you think. And that needs to be what your audience hear. Okay. Unless it was a moment of anger and you were just like rage writing, then it's a little bit different. But you know what I mean. Okay. So when you start claiming in your content, it genuinely doesn't feel like bragging. The more you do it, it just feels natural to you because, like I've said a million times, you have a service that you want to share. She's the one, her clients are inevitable. Sorry, her results are inevitable. And being in her world feels safe to me. I want that. That's what your clients will think. So, two questions. How can you translate your she's the one identity into your positioning content? So it's not just telling them, it's showing them, it's proving why premium clients should choose to work with you. And like, what is one bold statement, truth, proof point, or framework that you could claim and like own in your content over the next couple of days that instantly like places you as a category of one? I want you to start thinking about that because remember, implementation is what gets the results, not just the behind the scenes bit. So your audience is activated. They believe something new is possible. They see you as the one to lead them, but there's still one thing's missing. They need to have seen themselves differently. Okay, so this is where elevate comes in. So elevate is showing your audience their future self. Cheesy word, but it's true. Until they start to recognize it as their own and like, oh, yes, I could be that person. I could have that life. Okay. So it's not where they are now, but where they're going. Because what I see is a lot of pain point marketing. And pain point marketing does feel like somebody is like poking you, like poking a wound. And pain point marketing is good, to have its place. But without the elevate marketing as well, it's not really going to lift them up. And we're talking to premium buyers. Elevate, lift them up. Okay. Now, the brain loves an identity upgrade. Okay. It is in biopsychology. because we don't just buy the outcome. We want the outcome, we want the result, we want the solution, but we also buy how that's going to look for us, how our life is going to be different, how we're going to feel different, how our day to day is going to be different, all in a good way. So your content has to let them feel, and feel is the important word, their next level self in advance. Okay. Now, just a few examples how this doesn't have to be done in the ordinary way. So this is like, there were millions to choose from, like Nike. Okay. Twice the guts, double the glory. Nike doesn't sell trainers. I know they sell a lot of other things, but in this example, they don't sell trainers. All their marketing sells that you are an athlete. So when you buy something from us, you're not just buying the name Nike, you're buying the fact that you are an athlete. Okay, that is really key. So this is what we're talking about. They're elevating you. Same with iPhone. I used this example with you the other day. So with iPhone, that's very blurred. They don't just sell phones or devices, they sell the fact that they are like technologically advanced. You are ahead of the game. You think different. You're a visionary. You're innovative if you have something that Apple or iPhone related. So instantly you're like, they're elevating your status, being, identity. So then the question is, how do you elevate in your content? Now, I just need to grab my charger because my laptop is about to die. So please bear with me for 1 second. You know that nothing can ever go perfectly to plan. There we go. I'm back. Okay. Don't we just love a bit of realness? Ah, there we go. So, how do we elevate in content? So, your content needs to sell who they become through working with you. Not, and as we know, I'm not even going to like say the obvious, like not just the features, but who they become. So yes, they get X results, but what does that mean? So I'm going to show you like 3 of my favorite ways to do this when you're elevating in your content. So the first one is identity contrasting. Okay, so that's all right, no worries, thank you. Identity contrasting is like the now and the when. So instead of telling them what to do, you show them the gap between who they are now and who they're becoming. So I just put an example on here, like a health coach. So right now, you're fueling yourself just to get through the day. It's relatable. But the shift is fueling yourself like a leader whose body matches her ambitions. And then, like I would go on to show images of that difference. Okay. So you're shifting perspective, but you're also giving them this identity difference between where they are now and where they are when they've worked with you. So examples of how I did this in my content, really simple example here. I actually love this simplicity post. There are 2 women with the exact same strategy. Okay, woman A is stuck at 1K months. Woman B is on her way to her first 8K month. Why? So this was an innovative way of identity contrasting. So like effectively, this is where they are now. This is where they want to be. And I went through in that post, like what woman B is doing that's different to woman A. So they are starting to like think, oh, okay, I need to be more of this person to have these results. So it's not just about the result. And then this one is just a very kind of simple identity contrasting where you're doing like a POV or like an imagine if. So like if you just signed a 5-figure dream client who you can't wait to start working with, and yesterday you signed 3 more just like her, what would you say, claim, and own when you next showed up? So I'm getting her to in the head of the woman who is doing those things. So it's a real different way. I'm not educating, it's not problem awareness. I'm really contrasting those 2 identities and elevating her to see herself in the when identity. Okay. And then the second thing that you can do, I like this activity, is mirror language. Okay. Now, this isn't literally saying like, this is who you are. You're tired. You're stuck. You're this, you're that. It's writing in a way that really reflects back the traits that they have, but you're magnifying them even more. Okay. So, like, this is where to do this, you need to really know your ideal client. So, if you were a career coach, you've always been the one people come to for answers. But the only difference now is companies are willing to pay six figures for it. Okay. That is like a mic drop moment kind of post, but also like, I'm the one people always come to for answers. Okay, how do I have this? Because I've now really, I've activated it and I've elevated her at the same time. I talk about this as if it's my own, like, this is my niche, but I get so excited by content. Okay, example of an easy way of doing this. Your fear of selling your office every day because you might piss people off, which a lot of people think, so I'm in their head, goes away when you realize that the only people you're annoying are the ones who are never going to buy anyway. So this is a bit of an activation in terms of it's a perspective shift, but you're also elevating her to be like, in very subtly in this one, like, well, yeah, because I don't care. Like when I'm that person, I don't care. Like for the people who unfollow me who aren't going to buy anyway, I'm going to say what I want to say. Okay. So mirroring their language, but elevating them in the same way. And then the third way is positioning them in power. So, like, they are the hero in the content. Because, like I said, a lot of content keeps like clients stuck, feeling like, oh God, she's going on at me. I don't, when you're feeling really stuck, like you're overwhelmed, you're tired, you're stuck, you don't, it's not particularly empowering to keep being told that, is it? So while we need to connect with some pain points, premium positioning, we need to also be making sure we're letting them feel proud, powerful, like where they are now. So almost like, you know, you've got to where you are now because you're bloody amazing mum. And yes, you're overwhelmed, and yes, you're tired, but it's no surprise, is it? Blah, blah, blah. So you're still talking about those pain points, but you're also elevating them in their power. And now you know, and you're letting them know they can still be called higher still. Those are the buyers you want, because those are the buyers who know they're great. Or they might not know they're great, but they know what they're doing. They do know what they're doing is right. And they're stuck because they just don't know how to get to where they want to be. They want it. They partly know they're capable, but they don't know how. So you're like positioning them in the power to be, come on, you've got this, because that's going to give you the most powerful type of client that you want, and not client that is in victim mode, because you don't want that. Nobody wants that, whatever your niche is. Okay. So, example, POV, simple. You went from screenshotting their ideas to being the one everyone's screenshotting. It positions them in that power. And also, it gives them a shaking activation moment of like, oh shit, yes, there's lots of screenshots of other people's content in my camp, probably. Because for my ideal client, that is probably something. Or this is, you already have what it takes to double your sales this summer. I just sharpen your strategy to make it sell, scale, and stack. So I'm elevating and I'm claiming with my She's the One effect in that one as well. So you can see how they're not in isolation, they do weave together. Okay. And if you go back to day one, where you defined your She's the One identity, elevate is now that mirror. Okay. It is the content that lets them see their She's the One effect, their identity, and the solution you're going to bring them. So elevating is about allowing what the work that you do with what makes you the one. You want to allow your audience, whoever they are, to start seeing themselves as the one who is capable of this. Okay, before they've ever stepped into it, like mirror, mirror on the wall. Okay, and that's the final layer of premium positioning content, because when your audience feels themselves as that future version that you're reflecting back to them, they don't just want your offer. They feel like they're meant for it. They feel like they belong in that offer and working with you, almost to the point where they don't even care what the offer is. They just want to work with you because you've made them feel this way. That's the key of premium positioning content. So the two questions to ask yourself is, what is that future identity that your premium clients are reaching for? So not just the future desire, the future result, transformation, solution that they want, but what's the identity that goes along with that? Because if you can start pulling that out, you're going to be able to activate and elevate them. Okay. And how can your next few posts let them feel like they're already living that identity? That's really important. Okay. Because this is how you influence through your content and your messaging. You activate the belief shifts that are going to like wake them up. You claim and own your lane, so your presence just feels inevitable, and you elevate them into their next level self. And say, until like saying yes to you feels like they're also saying yes to themselves, because they're like, with me, sorry, with her, that is exactly like, I'm going to be able to have that. That's what you want them to be feeling. Okay. And when your content aces, so it activates, it claims, it elevates, it doesn't just get seen, it sells, and it sells on repeat without you being on all the time and without you feeling like you're a content churning machine, because content is your most powerful sales system. And when you link that with the work we've done on She's the One, that's all right, Katie, you are your most powerful sales system, because this content cannot come without the you part of it. Okay. So even on day 3, you get homework, because the Telegram is keeping going and active until Wednesday. So I want you to audit your last 3 posts through the ACE lens. Okay, so did the post activate? Were you claiming it all? Like whatever part, was it She's the One effect? Was it what you do? Was it the results? Like, were you at least claiming? And did you elevate through your content? Okay, and then ask yourself, what are you strongest at? Activating, claiming, or elevating? And which one do you really need to double down and dial into in like your next content creating session? This is going to really make the difference for you. And I could have done this session. There's so many angles of content I could have done this session with you on. Could have gone into the different types of content, like problem awareness, authority positioning, educating, value, like activating and desire, all of those things. But actually, the key here is selling while you play. And to sell while you play, it is zooming out of what type of content you are making in that moment. And it is going to, what do I need to do in this piece of content? What is the purpose of this piece of content, whatever type it is? Whether it's problem awareness, authority positioning, educational value, activating, it needs to elevate, it needs to claim, and it needs to activate. And there's not enough people like taking you that step. It's not even a step back, it's the wider lens. Okay. So this, I can't wait to start seeing your content after this. I'm like really excited. So as we now close our like 3-day experience of lives, we're still open for another 2 days in Telegram. I really want you to like start recapping on the transformation that you have had over these 3 days, because you've activated your She's the One effect. You've stepped into the identity that like, or started to, that has you taking action as this obvious choice for your clients. You've added that level of innovation to how you deliver your offers, but also like how you create them, so that you can start to go from being like in the box to creating your own mold and standing out in ways that are fresh and refreshing, same word, exciting, and like not comparable to anyone else. And you're now, after today, going to start stepping into that influence. understanding how to use this premium level content to really activate your clients at the deepest level so that you are able to sell while living your life to the absolute max, whatever that looks like for you. Okay. And if you gain that much in just 3 days, I want you to imagine hiring me as the not so silent, as you can imagine, partner in your business inside the Authority Mastermind. So if you could, I would love to invite you just for 5 minutes, as I'm going to talk to you about this. So there's two options from this point. You can take everything which is genuinely so valuable. Like I said, it's important. I want to give value. You can action everything you've learned from these 3 days. You can start to implement it. You can start to test how this all works on your own. Absolutely fine. Okay. Or you can hire me as the not so silent strategic partner in your business. You can start to reach those goals in the fastest way, in the most exciting, fun, joyous way possible, because I do make things fun. Because the Authority Mastermind really is your entire transformation. It's not just another mastermind. And I know that's a phrase that bloody everyone uses, but it really isn't. Like, you come in as the woman who's like good at what she does, good at what she does. She kind of knows what she's doing. She knows her offer to a point. You might want to change it, but you leave as the one who is known for what you do as you're scaling your business, because this is the last space you're going to need to master content, to master sales and strategy that actually moves and grows your business with you while you are living your life. Like, that is the most important thing. Because right now, you might have had clients, but sales are inconsistent. Selling makes you feel a bit icky, maybe. You're like still stuck on your content to an extent. You're making it more palatable, more digestible. You don't fully understand what's converting and what can convert. You don't want to be like just another person. You don't want to be shrinking your edge to be liked or to fit in and just blending in with everyone else online. And you do feel like you're some best kept secrets because you're working all the hours. You know you love what you do and you can get your clients results, but it's just not happening. Well, when you are inside and after Authority, you remember who you are and you move from that place. Like, honestly, like, I could talk to you about some of the women in there now, and it's just insane. Your content starts to cut through that noise and it's calling people in. You build innovation into everything you do, but also your offers are rooted in your specific genius that has you standing out and has you selling before you launch. So one of the girls in there now, like, I think it was about 6 weeks ago now, she sold 55% of her spaces in her group before we even launched, because we went really innovatively about the offer, but also the strategy. And you're going to be able to just, you're going to be the woman who moves the energy when you walk in the like metaphorical rooms and creating that space for yourself. So what we do, I'm not going to read all of this, but what we do in the mastermind is we go through my 4 I's, not necessarily in order. These weave through every single thing that we do. So you embody your authority, your identity work. Okay. You have that level of influence. So effortless sales, content, magnetism, your words start doing the work. You sharpen your message. You become, your identity-led strategy starts to lead everything that you're doing. So you're selling confidently, consistently at premium prices. And I will caveat that we don't just whack a big price on it. It is where you feel your premium prices without you feeling like you're launching all the time or being on all the time. Okay. And we do all of that backed with weekly calls, hand-on personal reviews, so that we're constantly ensuring you are in your authority all the time. We're also innovating. We're looking at scalable offers. We're looking at your whole ecosystem so that everything you do is positioned with conviction. And then this is the key that obviously we haven't gone into over here, because we've looked at these three within our 3 days, but it's the implementation. And that's where you get the hands-on mentorship and like that like done for you advantage. When I say I'm in your business with you, I am in your business with you. I spot opportunities you haven't seen yet. I can message you from the bath sometimes. I will see something and think, oh, you could do this. Or let's find a way that we could build this in. You have access to like, I've shown you this on one of the days, like my mastermind directory, which has lots of sales page frameworks, email copy, trainings to dive into. There's an element of like done for you in there so that you can implement everything that you do with ease, sell with more confidence, and be in that momentum. Okay. Nick is in there at the moment. She's actually just re-signed for another 6 months. Nick started with me really unclear on her niche, even. Like she wasn't sure this is where she wanted to be. And within 7 weeks, we pulled out her edge. We found her lane. We got innovative with offers. She signed her first of many one-to-one clients, all within 7 weeks. She's now had a one-of-a-kind group program where people were asking on week 3 that they never wanted it to end and where could they go after it. She's now got a thriving membership and she's running in-person events and she's embodied every single, there's so many typos in that element of being an authority. Okay. So only last week, she's a lawyer. She was like, I want to drop 2 days in my lawyer job so that I've got more time on business. And she'd made that money up in like 2 days by what she was selling. Okay. So she's also done all of this while in a full-time job. Okay. And last week again, she just had someone message me randomly out of the blue and paid in full. That is what is happening. Okay. So if you want daily payouts, you need a strategy that works. And we do all of this. We have weekly group calls, strategy, hot seat coaching. They are every week. We have twice a week in-depth work reviews. That can be you send me your content to review, you send me sales pages, offers that you're sending out, like literally anything from your business work, absolutely anything. You also get 4 private one-to-one calls with me, and you get full access to like this proven, tested, optimized template library and trainings so that you can dive into whenever you need. So just for you guys, you're going to get exclusive access to join us with an in-person bonus and a discount. Okay. And if you want to know more details, now is the time to move, because the investment, first of all, there isn't normally a 3-month option. It's a 6-month mastermind. And I won't be, when I start talking about this on my socials, the 3-month option will not exist. So there is a 3-month option to join, and there is a 6-month option to join. If you choose to join for the 6 months, you are going to save £1,000. Okay. That is huge. Absolutely huge. Also, if you choose to join in the next 48 hours or book a call with me in the next 48 hours, this will be on hold. You also get half-day VIP day with me. So this is where we go, usually up to London. We meet in person. I've done so many of these now. I love them. Beforehand, we have a call. We focus on what you want to do in that half-day VIP day, strategy, something specific, creating offers, and we get down to work together in a gorgeous hotel. We have lunch, we have drinks. It's amazing. It's worth £1,000 by itself, and that is only for you guys if you choose to sign up in the next 48 hours. So if anything there, or you would just like to know a little bit more, just DM me to discuss. Okay. It is an amazing space. I love what I do. I love all the women inside. The fact that they have all re-signed their contracts in the last 6 weeks, maybe, yeah, 6 weeks, speaks testament. But I have absolutely, absolutely loved our 3 days live together, everyone. And I am going to jump in the Telegram group now, and I'm going to put your homework in there. I'm also going to download you an activation, which is worth those 50 extra points. And I would love to see you in the DMs if you have any questions about the mastermind. And I will see you soon, guys. Take care. Brilliant. Thanks, Margaret.